What's up, YouTube? We're live. See how many viewers we get? There's 2, maybe 3, maybe 4. Haha. And 10. And whew, there we go. 1 like. Yo. A video response. Oh, jeez. Again with the Bill Barr reference. Oh boy. YouTube, this video response has been difficult to make just because the topics which are discussed within it are so exhausting. It's just like I gotta do some other things tomorrow, but I got a really good start on that album I'm working on for the holidays. I went and got 2 more songs done after the fact. We're not going to play any of that. But, yeah, this album's coming together nicely. The Silent Fart was just, instead of Silent Night, it's exactly what I had envisioned as far as just like creating it on the spot. And it should be funnier than shit. And I do plan on having the album done before Easter Knoth. That's just how it is. Well, it's Easter Knoth season, but oh boy. So yeah, we're doing a video response. And wait for the skip. Okay. Don't have any alcohol, but I don't need it to do a video response. Although certain topics I will discuss in this live stream are going to be exhausting for certain people in my audience. Sydney Watson posted a video, The Insidious War on Men, the Destruction of Masculinity. And, we hope you're all having a fantastic evening. Now, we look up the word insidious because it's one of them fancy dictionary words, right? I know what it means, but for the sake of the audience and for the video, we're going to look it up. Insidious.
Here's the definition of insidious: proceeding in a gradual, subtle way, but with harmful effects.
The definition of the word insidious is proceeding in a gradual, subtle way, but with harmful effects. Now, there were 2 sides to this argument. First of all, there were some men who were very toxic for the male gender. It's basically the male equivalent of a feminazi. And it goes without saying, you have women out there who are man haters, and no disrespect to y'all's on that. I'm sure you have your reasons, but it never goes checked. But if a man hates women, he gets crap for it like no other. And truth be told, women and men are assholes to each other. They take advantage of their gender's privilege. Both genders do it. And then bitch when the other one does it. Instead of looking at the similarities and what makes the genders similar, they focus on the differences and which gender has it harder. Now, society has a way of making women into victims, and then it's just sad, dude. There's just a lot of crap to go into with this, but we'll try to keep it short and sweet and to the point. But if my fans are exhausted of double standards videos, believe me, I'm exhausted of seeing this play out in our society. In the 3 years that I've been single, it's only seemed to have gotten worse, in my opinion. And with the pandemic making everyone a little crazy and such. No, it's ridiculous because the other day I went into Albertsons and cashed in some coins. And then as soon as I got to the tobacco counter to cash in on it, there were two people standing in front of me. And this one dude just standing around, literally takes his hands, wipes his nose, okay? Wipes his goddamn nose. And then does this. Wipes it on his shirt. I'm like, and then he starts interacting with the cashier lady. He didn't even bother to put hand sanitizer on or nothing. I wanted to say something, but I was just like, what's the, you know what I'm saying? I don't like getting involved with drama and shit. You know what I'm saying? I just, you know what I'm saying? Especially around the holidays, it's just like, I don't need it, dude. Nobody needs drama in their life. But then, of course, they recognize me because I'm not afraid to carry my wand openly in town. Apparently that triggers people. I've earned the nickname the Goth Harry Potter around town, which I think is funny because Voldemort's my favorite character and I'm a Slytherin, but that's beside the point. I actually wear these glasses because I'm one of the biggest Aussie fans. And it doesn't really matter. People are going to, talk smack. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing you can do about it. But going back to the video, and then like later on, like a day and a half later, someone drove by and shouted "Fuck King Cobra JFS" out the window, and I was just like, do I know you? You know what I'm saying? You get bullied your entire life. You learn to just ignore it. And the dudes that were standing in front of me at Albertsons were cracking jokes like, "Oh my God, this is hilarious! Look, it's the Goth Harry Potter." And honestly, that's just the crap that people who practice magic have to face. We faced ridicule for centuries, okay? And the reason why I don't let it get to me is because people who practice magic back in the day, like way back in the day, ancient times, man, back in the day, you could literally go out and end someone's life because they practiced magic and no one thought twice about it. And that's horseshit. And then you get all these other religions today who are bitching about prosecution, and I'm just like, join the fucking club. Yeah, it sucks that people are that fucking intolerant, that it's 2020 and we still have intolerance, but if you don't want to wear a mask, that's fine. I mean, it's dumb, but it's really your choice. I happen to have one should I need it. It's got well, what I'm saying, skull in the front. But just sitting there wiping your hands on your, on your nose, and then, dude, it was so gross. Like, I was just like, seriously? And the whole time I'm interacting and getting my little stub cashed in from the coin counter, interacting with this chick, I was just like looking at her like, you might want to wash your hands after this interaction, because that dude in front of me was being nasty. And then they sat there making fun of me for carrying a wand around town because I openly practice magic. You know what I'm saying? It's dumb. Especially if they're a Christian and they sit there and say, "Judge not lest you be judged," and you can't force other people to think like you. Those are two quotes from the goddamn Bible. So I always find it quite ironic when Christians and Jesus freaks and Catholics and Pentecostals and whatever the fuck, Methodist, Baptist, whatever the fuck you want to call yourself, judging other people for their beliefs. It's like, I don't go out of my way to harass other religions. I don't drive by churches on Sunday shouting, "You're all a bunch of brainwashed sheep, sweet bell tower," though, and then driving away. No, I don't do that shit. But when I see people making fun of me for what I believe in, I just ignore it. You know? Because I'm more spiritually comfortable with my religious beliefs than they are. And they question that. Who's this goth dude? Not afraid to be himself. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, insidious, proceeding to a gradual, subtle way, but with harmful effects. Now, going back to what I said earlier. Okay. Freaking, yeah. In our society, men are being told that being masculine or showing traits that are characteristically male are seen as toxic. And well, it depends, because masculinity gets a bad name just like feminism does. The assholes who hate women and the women who hate men colliding with each other while the rest of us are going, really? You know, and it's those two forces that make dating difficult. Because hatred has a way of infecting people to some degree. I've noticed this. It's like a ripple effect. You know, so I genuinely go out of my way to not start drama and shit, because I'm just like, what's the point? You know? I deal with enough crap on social media from these dickhead trolls, so why am I going to cause more drama for myself in my real life? And the funny thing about that, a lot of my trolls have successful jobs. They make more money than I do in 1 week, and they live a comfortable life, but they're bored. And so they troll me for lulz. I'm like, dude, you're living a better life and you're bored? That just shows you're jealous, even though you make more money than I do. And what's sad is they could get fired from their jobs for harassing me on YouTube. If their company they work for got word that, oh, you're harassing an adult with Asperger's for kicks and grins when you're not on the clock, well, we don't like how that represents our company, so you're fired. And they'd be going, what? Oh, that's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing of it. I make videos. I play guitar. I make wands. I hang out with friends. I play video games. I watch cartoons. I cook. You know, if I want to be entertained. Now, there's nothing wrong with being feminine. There's nothing wrong with being masculine. However, YouTube, the extremes on either end, when they clash, you know, creating this battle of the sexes bullshit. It's ridiculous, dude, because it creates all this unnecessary drama and tension. Women and men are very similar to each other. The only thing that really truly separates men from women is women give birth to children, men don't. There's a lot of similarities amongst the genders, and if you focus on the similarities and how double standards can impact the opposite sex, not just your own gender, you start to get a bigger grasp of the way society thinks and the way the cogs and the machine keep turning. Yeah.
This topic is really just the gift that keeps on giving.
This topic is just the gift that keeps on giving. Yes, it is, isn't it? The gift that keeps on giving me a freaking headache. I mean, honestly, I think a lot of people are sick of a lot of shit, not just the coronavirus. Like, I think a lot of people are not only sick and tired of the coronavirus, but they're sick and tired of people treating each other like crap. If you don't like someone, then ignore them. Like, I've watched this video a couple times to get my talking points right, and holy shit. Society is batshit crazy, man.
This topic is really just the gift that keeps on giving.
you might want to strap yourselves in because we're going to grab ourselves a glass of water and get into it. I mean, this is just ridiculous. Because apparently doing stuff that is characteristically male is seen as toxic. I really cannot freaking imagine why we're seen as toxic. I really can't. I really freaking can't. I mean, it's beyond me, YouTube. Men are seen as toxic. I really can't begin to imagine. I really begin to wonder why it is that they would see us as toxic. I really can't begin to imagine, YouTube. I really can't. Can you imagine it? I really can't. Can you? I mean, shit.
Hi, my name is Sydney. Welcome back to my channel. As per usual, this video would be nothing if it weren't for our loving sponsor, Surfshark. Now, masculinity is one of those topics that we hear about.
Cobra, are you trying to get demonetized? What?
A lot. And most of the time, the conversation circulates.
Yeah, masculinity gets talked about a lot in our culture. And what Sydney's about to say is very true. Whenever masculinity is talked about, quite often, it's never positive. It's never seen as, oh, hey, and that's because of the asshole men who have ruined it. It's kind of like whenever you bring up the word feminism, people just go, because of the Christmas Yule logs, drinking eggnog underneath the tinseltoe. Feminism evolved from this concept where women had no rights. They could vote. That was about it. They were treated like crap by men. They got their rights, which is fucking awesome. But now feminism has become a sort of anti-men sort of thing. And honestly, fellas, if you had spent the last couple of decades fighting for your rights, you'd feel the same fucking way. However, to spend a couple of decades fighting sexism against the opposite sex only to become sexist is... And now some of you might think, oh my God, he was looking at a Playboy on YouTube, you asshole. You know, when Hugh Hefner was told by some women, how would you like it if we started Playgirl? He said, well, that's all fair and gender equality. I say go for it. There you go. Now let's get into the video.
Its negative elements, how toxic it is, how it's a gateway drug to violence. I mean,
Wait. There are people out there who think masculinity is a gateway drug to violence. Okay, then femininity is a gateway drug to nagging, bitching, and complaining, and gold digging. Fuck out of here, YouTube.
There are full-blown groups of people who actually believe that masculinity in itself is synonymous with like violence and war. But
why would they think that though, YouTube? Why would people think that violence and war are associated with masculinity? Because women had to fight to join the military for so long. Traditionally speaking, war and fighting has always been associated with being a man because it's what men do, right? But to be fair, we've seen women get a little catty and start scrapping it out with each other too. So really, little boys are playing with G.I. Joe dolls and little plastic M16s, and shit like that. And I can't imagine why they would associate masculinity with violence and war. I really can't.
if some people really believe that masculinity is in fact this negative oppressive force in our men and boys, then it makes sense that they want to neutralize it. And in the event that they can't do that, destroy it entirely.
Now here's the question for the ladies. How would it feel if people were questioning your femininity? If society and men and other women were questioning your femininity, and as soon as you did things that were considered feminine, you were shamed for it. Not to be an asshole, but that sounds awfully familiar, doesn't it? If women wear baggy clothes, they get told they're a tomboy and you look more attractive with more feminine clothes, but then as soon as they do, they get slut shamed for it. They choose not to wear makeup, they get told you would look prettier with makeup, and then as soon as they do wear it, they get slut shamed for it. They're being told that that's not feminine. You got other women who are telling women who do wear makeup that that's not feminine, and you're setting a bad example for women everywhere. And then you got women who do wear makeup saying it's their body, they can do whatever the fuck they want with it. They're going to put makeup on it. That's their empowerment. That's their right. So both sides make a very fair argument. However, the insidious war on men and the destruction of masculinity.
Which is what I want to talk about today, the destruction or death of masculinity and the feminization of men. But before we do any of that, let's hear about our sponsor, which you better watch because I try really hard with
Surfshark, cowabunga, man, when you're surfing the web and you want protection from the
these
internet.
ads.
We got Adception, YouTube. We got an ad within an ad.
See you, Francesca. Love the energy today. Climbing the leaderboard.
Treadmills are like having a bicycle that you can just ride in your house, but it doesn't go anywhere.
What is this? Oh my god, this isn't your new Surfshark ad, is it? As it turns out, you were right. People don't want sex appeal. They want abject pain. Because life is pain.
Life is what you make of it, man.
And then gardening. And then death. Why are you in pain? Because Lionel, my FBI agent, he can't see what I'm doing online when I use my VPN. It hides my IP address. I think he's stalking other people. Right. Why don't you just turn Surfshark off and then he can start tracking you again? No. Because Surfshark also blocks ads and doesn't keep any logs. And I can use it on as many devices as I like. And it even has its own private search service. Yeah, I'm really failing to see the problem with this. Don't people also get 84% off and 4 extra months free when they use code Sydney and click the link in the description? Yes, but I just need to be alone. Hey, Sydney, you want to come over and throw rocks at construction workers while they're carrying heavy things? We're fighting the patriarchy today. Can't you two see I am mourning? Some of you might remember seeing a photo of singer Harry Styles in a dress.
Harry Styles? Oh, you mean Justin Bieber version 2.0? Yeah. Because singers like that are just replaceable like that. But here's where things get a little weird. And I mean, to quote Cleveland Brown, now. Damn. I gotta stop taking baths around when Peter's doing his shenanigans. Outside of the jokes, who gives a frick if Harry Styles is wearing a dress? Like, oh my God, why? Just why? No, dude. No.
On the cover of Vogue magazine. A similar photo was also posted by Men's Health, and well, that's a whole conversation on its own. Unsurprisingly, the photo went viral.
Oh my God, dude, I can't. That's outside of this time. He didn't just be cute. He wasn't just being cute with the Christmas analogy of it. No, I flat out said it because when you hear the shit Candace Owen tweets, it's exhausting, dude. Like the fact that people are so fucking small-minded, they let a weird thing like this bother them that much. I mean, Harry Styles' music sucks, so to stay relevant, he wears a dress. Who cares? And people are acting like it's so fucking shocking. Caitlyn Jenner and all these other drag queens and trans people were doing it before y'all. And on top of that, the Scottish wear kilts, but that's a different story. On the same subject, though, I get a lot of crap for being goth. People see me wear eye makeup and nail polish. I've been called a bunch of names over the years. And I don't let it get to me. Whenever I'm in the mood to goth out a little bit, I do it because I don't give a fuck. But the comments that Candace Owen made were really just appalling, YouTube. So we're going to get into the juicy meat and potatoes of it, shall we?
Commented on it. She suggested that society cannot survive.
Candace Owens at the real Candace Owens tweets, there is no society that can survive without strong men. The East knows this. In the West, the steady feminization of our men at the same time that Marxism is being taught to our children, is not a coincidence. It is an outright attack. Bring back manly men. Oh God. The sheer sexism in that statement. Oh God. Oh fuck. I had to swallow that vomit. Sorry about that. Imagine for 1 second if Johnny Depp or George Clooney made a tweet like that, or if Donald Trump made a tweet like that. There'd be women everywhere screaming sexism and what's wrong with the man finding his feminine side. But thankfully, there are some celebrities who are not putting up with this Candace bullshit, because there are some celebrities who fire back.
Without strong men. That the steady feminization.
Bring back manly men, she says. Wow. Wow. Just fucking wow, dude. This is great. I mean, people are acting like this shit's shocking, but really it's not, to be quite honest. I listen to Ozzy, I listen to Cradle of Filth, Kiss. You know, a lot of 80s hair flare bands wore makeup, Twisted Sister, etc. So this idea that men can't do this, or, you know what I'm saying? Because here's the best part of it. If you were telling women you can't wear men's clothes, bring back girly girls. Oh, could you imagine this if someone tweeted that? Holy crap, dude. You'd never hear the end of it. There'd be feminazis everywhere fucking screaming from the hills and back, sexism and all men are the same. I haven't done my goth makeup in a while, so I'm like, yeah, you know what? For the stream, yes. The amount of comments I've gotten for being comfortable enough as a heterosexual male to be goth and be true to myself, it triggers people. So when I see people getting upset over this crap, I'm laughing my Asperger's off. I'm like, who gives a fuck, dude? Pop back into the stream real quick to see how that turned out. Blah. There we go. Oh, wait. We forgot the coup de resistance. And I mean, there are some goths who do more than just eyeliner and black nails. Like, It's Black Friday does a bunch of stuff. You know, I've seen goths that do the full-on corpse paint and everything. One second. This is just going to take a second. Now, in fact, while we're gothing up the nails,
of men is not a coincidence, but rather an attack, saying that we need to bring back manly men. Now, of course, this sentiment was not shared universally, with many people on the other side of things.
Thankfully, there are people out there who are sane enough to go, hey, well, wait a second. Because there is another celebrity who tweets out Frangel Bizarra. I'm not sure how you pronounce your name, Broha, but he replies to the real Candace Owen and at Harry Styles. She sounds like a fan. Unfortunately, her hateful comments are inspiring violence against gender non-conforming people, and it is atrocious. This isn't something to be proud of at the real Candace Owen. It isn't a discussion when people's safety and lives are put at risk. Honestly, I don't give a fuck about the haters, dude. You want to talk some shit, it's whatever. Like, but at the same time, you got to think it should be a discussion if people's safety is at risk. You know, if people are being viciously and violently attacked because they choose not to conform to gender-based stereotypes, because this right here is a major gender-based stereotype. Men are not supposed to paint their nails or wear eye makeup, but it accentuates the goth look so fucking nicely. And the courage to be yourself and not give a fuck what anyone thinks takes a lot of guts. And I think that one's fucking just about dried out. I'll grab another one. Well then. Alright, let's try this again. Grab a different bottle, and yes, that's much, much better. Okay, there's, whoa, caught that on my toe like a boss. I can do this over the goddamn desk.
Arguing that dresses don't mark femininity, that men can wear whatever they like, and people shouldn't work.
Now, another person that I guess Sydney blurred out the their Twitter feed or whatever, their name, another person commented that men should be allowed to wear whatever the fuck they want because blah, 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 blah. Basically, Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro are so vapid and judgmental that seeing Harry Styles in a dress shatters their worldview. It must be exhausted being offended all the times about things that don't impact them in the slightest. And that I agree with 1000%. You know, Harry Styles wearing a dress, it's gross, it's weird. Do I care? No. He's doing his thing, I'm doing my thing, you know. Meantime, you got these idiots over here who are just like, oh my God, did you see? You know what I'm saying? Like, get out of here, dude. Get the fuck out of here. All right. You get enough of that shite on there. I mean, I listen to Marilyn Manson, so big shocker, right? Okay. It's been a while since I've done that. That is sloppy as shit. Who gives a fuck?
Worry themselves with the things that don't affect them.
Yeah, I think to myself, is this worth getting offended over? Is it really worth getting offended over? Not really. The extremists ruin it for everyone. And you see this pattern unfold with this very topic. If women are told you're too feminine and you need to toughen up, could be such a girly girl, they get offended, right? So why should it be no different for men in that regards? I'm just asking questions here. If you get offended by this live stream, I don't give a shit.
Have you guys met you? Seriously. A short time later, Styles posted yet another photo wearing
Just no, dude.
whatever the hell this is,
Exactly,
with the
whatever the hell
caption,
this
"Bring
is."
back manly men." Now, if you're anything like me, then you patiently don't care about Harry Styles or...
Exactly my fucking point. If it's a celebrity you do like, you're going to follow their shit. That's what everyone does. But if it's a celebrity you don't care about, you don't care. Exactly. Exactly.
or literally any other celebrity and what they choose to wear. Seriously, until these people pay my taxes, I'm genuinely not interested in what they do. But if nothing else, this topic has actually raised some valid concerns about the state of men in 2020.
Oh boy. So because of all this bullshit in our society, it does raise a little bit of concern for men in 2020.
And the overall...
Oof, YouTube. This is some ridiculousness, I tell you what. But we're here to talk about it, and we're here to make a goddamn difference. One way or another. Because honestly, like I said, I've seen in the last 3 years that I haven't had a relationship. It's just the tension amongst the dramas has got, the tension amongst the genders has gotten worse. That's what it feels like. A lot of men and women are complaining about the same shit on the dating scene. I've seen it happen.
feminization of traditional masculinity. Depending on who you ask...
Oh, traditional masculinity, right.
The feminization of men is either harmful, weakening our society or suppressing innate biological tendencies, or it's successfully uncovering and rooting out toxic traits in men and manhood. It's either a significant negative problem or a welcome byproduct of blurring gender roles and stereotypes, such in the case of Harry Styles, or Gucci's attempt at
My eyes. What's that stuff in the it's brown bottle with a white lid. It tastes nasty. What is that stuff called? No, I'm having a fucking brain fart on this one. Yeah, pour that stuff in my eyes, because that was just no. And I got room to talk. I'm sure there are a lot of people who see me in my goth get up going with the same reaction. So hypocrisy at its finest.
releasing a tartan dress with a satin bow for men.
And when they say it's all Gucci up in here, like, no, dude. You're going to sell a dress for men that costs $2,600. This motherfucker. Do you know how many dresses you could buy at Walmart with that? Fuck out of here. And what man's going to wear that? Just the look on the guy's face is just sad.
In the hopes of disrupting the toxic stereotypes that mold masculine gender identity. Well, they're certainly disrupting something. This is the face of, apparently you can pay me enough to wear this. But there really are...
This video is, not as weird as some of the videos she's done on some of the other topics, but yeah.
People out there who believe that it is necessary to wear skirts and heels in order to challenge gender norms.
I mean, I've known people who dressed up in drag for cancer charity, which, when you're a dude who does that, any dude who's secure enough with themselves to say, hey, you know what, it's for charity. Okay, if you're doing that for charity or because you like doing drag shows, whatever. Who cares, dude? It's beyond fucking stupid.
And this is just one cosmetic example of the push to change these traits in men. So when we talk about this, it entirely depends upon which side of the fence you stand. Do you want a society where the lines of gender are blurred, where there is no clear distinction between men and women, socially, emotionally, developmentally, and externally? Or do you want a society where men and women have clearly defined roles, determined by their innate immutable characteristics as two separate sexes?
That is the question. Do we want to live in a society where women and men are defined by their characteristics, or do we want to live in a society where their characteristics are undefined? Well, here's the thing of it. If people are being jerks to each other, regardless of gender or all this other bullshit. Oh, look, a straight white male wearing goth makeup. Ooh, the ultimate fuckery, because straight white men are hated in our society, but men who wear makeup are accepted. People aren't going to know what to think of it. It's going to fuck with them so hard.
And of course, with a little added nuance to suit the date and time period. Well, I certainly know where I stand. It's the second option, in case that wasn't clear.
Well, yeah, I don't know, man. I guess it depends on your opinion. Like, there are certain things that women and men can't do that the other one can, kind of thing. And is what it is. But if women want to wear baggy pants and men want to wear dresses, who gives a fuck?
Because I don't want this.
That is disturbing, Sydney, to say the least. That's just nope.
No, thank you.
That's a Shane and Hannah. Nope.
I'll be fine. The feminization of men, at least in my opinion, has been in progress for several decades. If it helps, think about it as like He-Man versus like this. In 1976, a certain
Well, that person's a drag queen. Huh. Is it a female who does drag racing? Ooh. We're pushing all kinds of buttons tonight. Beep, boop, boop, boop.
sociologist called Robert Bannon wrote a book called The 49%.
I know what it is. I was being a fucking smartass. Jeez. People need to be like, this guy.
Majority, where he detailed the blueprint of manhood, describing core tenets of masculinity at the time.
I mean, people are getting all worked up over a man wearing a dress. It's not the first time it's happened. You saw Caitlyn Jenner do it. It's not that big of a deal, dude. Nobody cares. People are blowing this way out of proportion.
These included things like not showing weakness or acting feminine, striving for financial success, and search.
So, according to some studies, men were expected to gain respect from their colleagues and to strive for power. There was a premium put on financial success, social status, and need to be looked up to. Basically, I can out macho you. Look at this. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. This pissing contest that humans get into. You know, women do this crap too. Right? That's why they always brag about how awesome their life is to their best frenemy that they secretly hate. We'll get into that little tidbit somewhere towards the middle of the video.
Social status, projecting an aura of confidence.
The biggest problem with this is if men fail at anything, they see themselves as a failure at life, because men are told if you fail at anything, you're a wuss, you can't do it, you're a failure at life, yada, yada, yada. If women fail at anything, they get told, well, you can do it, just try again later. So basically, we live in a society where women are being built up and men are being put down. But then that's why, you know what I'm saying, that could be why. That could be half of the reason why shit, you know.
Confidence and self-reliance, being the strong silent type, and striving to be tough, adventurous, and live life on.
Give him hell. Being a man is also tied to toughness, testosterone, field aggression, and living life on the edge through an outgoing spirit of adventure. Yeah, because we're going to be out in the woods chopping down them goddamn trees to build a goddamn cabin, sitting by the fire, freezing our balls off in a fucking tent we made out of a camo tarp and some stakes and a rope and a low-hanging tree. Yeah. Which, yeah, if you want to be smell like a manly man, get yourself some God of War pheromone beard oil from the Grondike Soap Company. That shit leaves your beard soft. I put some in earlier after showering, and soft as silk. Women love things that smell good and that are soft. And God of War pheromone beard oil is guaranteed to make your beard soft. Head on over to the Grondike Soap Company website. The affiliate link is in the description box below. You check that out and use coupon code King Cobra off your next order. It'll save you some money, and it helps me out too. Righteous. Give them hell. They expect men to be their toughest. So even when they're weak emotionally, they still get crap. And women get crap for being emotional too. Let's not be all one side or the other, you know.
The edge. By 2020 standards, it's very clear that many of these traits would simply not be valued in the same way that they used to be. Nowadays, several of these things would be considered toxic masculinity, especially anything and everything relating to suppressing emotion or not wanting to act feminine, which, I guess leftists want men to do. For some reason, I just want you to cut me down a tree and build me a house. This isn't hard. I mean,
shit, women can do that crap too, you know. Yeah. Could you imagine a female construction worker hollering at attractive men? I bet it happens. Women are more shy about flirting with the opposite sex unless they really like you or they're with a group of other women. Because women are told if you flirt like men, that's not very ladylike. So, of course, they're forced to be more reclusive with it. Kind of like the whole myth that women don't fart. Oh, but they do. They do. Now, if a man openly just rips ass at the dinner table, people look at him and go, oh, what a gross male. Typical. And they just kind of brush it off like, oh, excuse me, he says. But if a woman does it, they're appalled. Like, I can't believe you just admitted a humanly bodily function. What? Oh, madam, know your place in society. Don't be a stinking hypocrite about farting. Everyone does it. You can get pissed off at it or you can laugh at it. A well-timed fart can piss someone off or make them laugh. Just like comedy. Just like comedy.
Research actually confirms this, telling us that young men themselves value intellectual strength over physical strength. They value openness and altruism more than they value autonomy. Although, if you ask me, I'd argue that men have always valued altruism. Just ask the men on the Titanic as they gurgled to the bottom of the ocean. One article I read suggested that this change to masculinity isn't necessarily a bad thing. It doesn't signal the death of the cowboy, but rather the death of the gunslinger. The cowboy just got more sophisticated to fit.
I know this metaphor that she's throwing at us is basically a metaphor for the hero, the masculine, manly man who saves the day and swoops her off her feet. Which you can swoop women off their feet. You don't have to be some manly man or some, gunslinging hero. You know what I'm saying? And these days, if you want a woman to notice you, you know what you do, YouTube? Act like they're not there. Ignore them and just play it cool and chill out. And if she's into you, she's going to notice and it's going to drive her nuts. It's called reverse psychology, and it works. And women do this crap too. It's called they call it man interrupting. Whenever the man interrupts a conversation, interruption in general is rude. But that's when feminazis try to turn it into a issue about gender. It's just like, why? And the thing of it is, ladies, if you had stupid terms like, oh, you're just girl guilting, trying to make you feel sorry for you because you got cramps, you're just girl guilting me because of my gender. If guys actually said crap like that, oh my God, how obnoxious would that be? You're just girl guilting me because I can't have periods. Women would be fucking pissed at that shit. Well, that's the kind of crap you're doing to us, ladies, with your fucking reverse sexism, mansplaining, man interrupting crap. You know what I'm saying? Like, God damn it, fucking younger millennials and the next generation with their stupid, made-up, flim-flam terms. It's enough to make you want to drink.
Fit in with our shifting world of office jobs and nerds. This idea might even help explain the decline in physical dominance in men, such as dropping testosterone levels and overall physical strength, which has been documented in a few studies relating to endurance and grip strength. One study, for example, basically concluded that the average college male has no more hand strength than a 30-year-old mom. In saying that, we know there's at least one thing you guys are good at gripping. My hand, when you take me on a nice date. Get your heads out of the gutter. Now,
oh, my mind wasn't in the gutter. My mind was on these sweet biceps of mine. Your mind might have been in the gutter, but that's all right.
I'm not saying for a second that men have to abide by and fit into this 1970s version of masculinity. But society overall appears much more comfortable with the softer emotional man than the cut me down a tree and build me a fortress kind of man?
I think it depends on the woman in question, because women have different tastes, just like men. There are some women who like their man to be more masculine. There are some women who want their man to be more in touch with his feminine side. And then there are some women who just flat out hate men. Those are your three categories.
The problem arises when men do actually have these traditional characteristics. They are increasingly unable to express them or act them out, lest they be labeled toxic or fragile and cast to the back of the proverbial gender bus. In early 2019, the American Psychological Association
Basically saying men are not allowed to show their emotions because it may be seen as toxic or fragile. You know, if you piss a woman off, you'll never hear the end of it, right? And it's the truth, because women hold on to grudges and shit. And this is such a classic woman thing to do. They'll get pissed off about something you did the other day as a dude. They won't tell you, but they'll just let it build and build and build and build. And until one night, you two are having an argument about something stupid and unrelated. And then she just brings up, well, the other day. Now that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is an example of bad communication skills, and relationships do not strive well on those things. If it irritates you in the moment, then talk about it civil, like, and calm. And honestly, if all you and your other half do is fight, then you shouldn't be with that person. That's not good for you or the other person. If you're dating someone to use them for something, that's not good either.
issued its first ever guidelines for practice with men and boys. Its primary message claims that traditional masculinity, such as stoicism, competitiveness, dominance, and aggression.
Okay. Competitiveness, aggression, stoicism, and basically domination, you know, like in the workforce, etc. All these things that men do are seen as toxic. But when women do it, it's seen as empowering and encouraging. And sometimes you gotta be a go-getter. Just go out and fucking, you know, get it done, man.
Is, on the whole, harmful. And honestly, these characteristics are now genuinely viewed as toxic masculinity across the board. And this is viewed as the path to violence and sexual harassment.
A lot of it depends, Sydney, on how the traits are exhibited. If men are using their privilege in society against women to get ahead in life, to dominate the workforce, etc., that's very toxic. Just to have their wife do the same exact thing when she gives him a divorce and takes the house, makes him pay child support. Because she's fucking the neighbor. And after the divorce case is over, she then lets him sleep on the futon in the living room while she's fucking her new man right above you. That dude's sitting there sleeping, trying to sleep, and all he hears is his now ex-wife getting railed out by some other dude. And he's got nothing left but the clothes on on his back. And she was nice enough to leave him a car. I mean, I'm just saying, humans can be real dicks to each other.
And traditional masculinity is the gateway to get there. With this intense scrutiny on men all the time, even for innocuous behavior.
Intense scrutiny on men. Now, you can't tell me that women don't face similar situations. People in general face intense scrutiny. We're judged for the clothes we wear, how we carry ourselves, the way we talk, the way we act, our mannerisms. There are people out there watching this going, this guy is eating spicy nacho Doritos, doing a gender relations rant and goth makeup while responding to a Sydney Watson video, going, that despise me. I don't care. I don't care. I really don't. These Doritos are fucking delicious, dude. Oh, Doritos in general.
It's really no wonder that men would want to separate and distance themselves from traditional manhood. The feminist movement has, without question, had an enormous hand in this. Over the last several decades, the purpose of women has been expanded dramatically. Rather than raising children predominantly, women can effectively do anything a man can do, except create sperm, but I'm sure that science is working on that one. Feminism even the playing field in almost all areas. Women can have sex like men, earn money like men, dress like men, and despite what feminist literature might tell you about equality, women have never been more equal. The problem is that nobody has really attempted to expand the purpose of men and uplift them in the same way.
Well, that right there got my thinking meat turning. Shout out to Terrence Pop. Over the last several decades, as women fight for equality, they've been supported, uplifted. They've had their purpose in life expanded. Now, a man's purpose in life, according to most people anymore, is, can he fix shit? Is he the strong, silent type? Does he have good manners? And is he respectful to women? Because that stereotype that men are just expected to be able to fix everything. Your wife comes in, says, honey, sink's clogged. Sink's clogged. Can you fix it? What does she say? Yeah, of course. Can he work on his car? Yeah, they just expect men to know how to fix everything. And when you can't,
And why would they? What allegedly started off as a movement for equality, which it isn't, instead has become laser focused on the patriarchy and eliminating inherent flaws in our male-orientated society and its effect on women. Even
We talked about this. We talked about this, YouTube. Feminism started off as a movement for female equality and then progressed into a hate men movement. But at the same time, when men were the ones responsible for those last couple of decades of oppression, well, and some women now realize that women in general have rights more than they've ever had in several decades, and they don't know what to do with it. So now, just looking for a reason to bitch, I guess. Fight the patriarchy. Wow. Okay. But doing it in a manner that's sexist towards men, it makes you look like a huge fucking hypocrite. I'm just saying. And if anything, then men are going to start to feel that oppression that you women bitch about all the time. And when they feel like that, they're going to start seeing, male groups supporting their rights and all this other shit. You know what I'm saying? And you're literally gonna see what feminists are doing from the 60s to now, only it's gonna happen in reverse with men doing that crap to women. And then they fire back, and then it's just like, stop. Instead of that, you could be like, oh, fucking sweet, all the hard work that you fought for got you the rights. Can we all just get the fuck along? I mean,
the push to break down.
because all men are pigs, right? This little piggy's gonna munch out on his chips. Wait. To all the man haters out there, you're sick and tired of men calling y'all bitches all the time. Well, how do you think men feel when we're being called pigs all the time? Same way you feel, angered. Hey, we're not all like that. And for both sides of the argument, no, but you can be.
Traits of traditional masculinity, such as independence, dominance, and suppression of emotions, has never really been about helping men themselves, but rather helping men help women, as aptly demonstrated by the UN and its tweet on International Men's Day this year. Has never really been about helping men themselves, but rather helping men help women, as aptly demonstrated by the UN and
One more.
Fall back in the bag.
Yeah. Cool. The United Nations tweets out, "Happy International Men's Day." They hashtagged it. To all the male allies around the world who support women, defy gender roles, fight gender-based violence, and stand up for equality. At the UN_women invites everyone everywhere to support hashtag Generation Equality. Yeah. Let's break this down for a second. Supporting women, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, and when it comes to relationships, you got to support each other. Defying gender roles, fighting gender-based violence. Yeah, I don't like the gender-based violence bullshit. It's stupid and it's toxic for the genders in general. Standing up for equality, oh yeah, we definitely got to stand up for equality. Definitely do.
It's tweet on International Men's Day this year. Just stop that. Even when people do point to ameliorating significant issues with men, such as the prevalence of male suicide rates.
Fuck suicide. But did you know that men are more likely to commit suicide than women? At least 3 to 4% of people who do it, and the stats don't lie. The stats don't lie. It's really fucking sad. Fuck suicide, but we're gonna look at the stats here. Which gender commits suicide more, men or women? Well, I looked it up when I was doing this video, and it literally said like 3 to 4% more men do it than women. And that's because men are put underneath a lot of pressure, just like women. You know, fuck suicide.
Homelessness, divorce, loneliness, and so on, it's framed not as, hey, let's build up men, but rather, let's eliminate their harmful behavior.
Exactly. Whenever men experience crazy emotions just like women, or whenever they get depressed, it's never seen as, let's build them up and find a solution for the problem. It's seen as, let's degrade them for it, make them feel like shit for having emotions. I guarantee you, if women were not allowed to be as emotional as they can be sometimes, they would hate it if they were ridiculed for it, which, to a degree, women are ridiculed for being overly emotional. And it's just people ridiculing each other for basic human interaction, basic human thought. You know, it's dumb.
Even more interesting is that the same masculine traits society seems to want to eliminate in men seem to be the same ones we celebrate in women. That sense of drive, purposefulness, aggression, and leadership, just to name a few examples. So I guess here we are, where the lines between the sexes are blurred, the roles are unclear, and while some people celebrate these things as positive steps towards equality and progressivism, it's clear that many men simply don't know where they fit in anymore.
I'm sure there's a lot of women who feel like that. A lot of men and women who feel like they don't know where they belong anymore. And honestly, that shit blows. It can be tough to find out where you belong in society.
Or how they should behave in a world that has practically replaced them with like vibrators and turkey basters and stop being graphic. I do what I want.
Stop being graphic, she says.
You're not the boss of me. But maybe it's shaming men and denying them their masculinity that's leading to negative behavior.
Yeah, shaming men and denying them their masculinity can lead to destructive behaviors that affect not only men but also women. And again, your definition of masculine may be different than someone else's.
In 2005, Rob Willer, a sociology doctoral candidate at Cornell University, presented findings that men act more masculine when their masculinity is under threat.
Oh, yes. Yes, they do. I gotta get some more tobacco, man. Ugh. I will soon enough. I got monies coming in. Have to get me a bag of like Cherokee Red or something like that. But which they sell here in town. Yeah. Those bags will last you a long fucking time. But yes, when men overcompensate when their masculinity is threatened, yes, they do. For example, if you and your buddies are at the bar having a drink, and some dude across the bar orders a drink he saw some chicks drinking, it's this tall rum drink. It's got like 10 different rums in it. It's colorful and fruity. It looks delicious and tropical. So that some other dude across the bar orders it, and you're sitting there drinking beer with your buddies. You've seen the bartender make it a couple times. You're thinking that looks kind of tasty. I might order one. But then one of your buddies comments, "Look at that dude over there drinking that rum drink. What a pussy drinking that girl's drink. What a faggot." Blah 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 blah. Just get tired of that. Like, women and men judge each other on everything, including the booze you drink. Like, how fucking pretentious, dude.
In his own words, the men reported feeling more ashamed, guilty, upset, and hostile when their masculinity was threatened, leading them to express greater support for the Iraq War at the time and show a greater tendency towards homophobia, for example. This is something I find really interesting because it seems like we've created a world where men are constantly under attack, where their manhood is constantly being questioned, and there's a significant confusion over their role in.
Men are not the only ones under constant attack. It really depends on the argument, because there are some women that will say that they get crap too, and that's the truth. Both sides are getting a fair amount of crap at the end of the day. There's a reason why it's called a double standard. It may impact men to, get rid of masculinity in some way, shape, or form. But it also has a negative consequence on women, because now all of a sudden men are starting to see them as the enemy instead of as a friend and someone who understands.
In society. We know from research that men presently feel confusion in their interactions with the opposite sex, which has only been heightened by movements like Me Too and Believe Women. In some studies, over
The Me Too movement. The Me Too movement's not necessarily a bad thing, but when we focus on masculinity or feminism and what ruins masculinity and feminism, the extremists and the assholes. And the Me Too movement is no exception to that. The Me Too movement was created so that if one gender or one specific race says, like, this is what goes down, in some way, shape, or form, that'll happen to some other race or some other gender. That's why the hashtag Me Too was created. It may not be to a as severe degree as what the other person goes through, but it's still something that people go through, because racism exists in all races and sexism exists in all genders. It's the sad truth of it.
Over 40% of men say that they are worried about navigating social interactions with women, from greeting them with a kiss hello to opening a door for them.
Well, if you shouldn't be greeting that woman with a kiss unless you know her, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Things which, in days gone
but yeah, there are some women who get offended because you hold the door for them. I personally haven't encountered it. I've always gotten a thank you and oh, what a nice young gentleman, you know. So I guess it depends on the woman, but
gone by were a sign of respect and chivalrousness, that today are viewed in some circles.
oh, chivalry. The thing you hear about these angry, pissed off feminazis who need some dick bitching about, all the chivalry is dead. Neither. You start thinking about that one song, Where Have All the Good Men Gone? Because she needs a hero. She's holding on through the night. He's got to be strong and ready from the. Okay, stop. Now it's in your head. Now it's in your head.
As sexist and overbearing. The attack on what many
Wait, what?
constantly being questioned, and there's a significant confusion over their role in society. We know from research that men presently feel confusion in their interactions with the opposite sex, which has only been heightened by movements like Me Too and Believe Women. In some studies, over 40% of men say that they are worried about navigating social interactions with women, from greeting them with a kiss hello to opening a door for them. Things which, in days gone by, were a sign of respect and chivalrousness, that today are viewed in some circles as sexist and overbearing.
It always amazes me when you hear about this shit. If women view holding the door for them as sexist rather than as being chivalry and polite, you got to think, what kind of asshole men has she encountered? Whose balls do we got to step on, honey?
The attack on what many of us would consider traditional masculinity might be hard to picture on the surface. Some of it seems fairly deliberate, whereas other components feel like an unfortunate byproduct of our shifting society. As of 2020, there are more single-parent-headed households than any other time in recent history, 80% of which are headed by mothers. Almost a quarter of all children live with a single mother, a 12% increase from 1968. In 2015, Dr. Warren Farrell gave a TED Talk about what he calls the boy crisis. He talked a lot about fatherlessness and its effects on young men. Fatherlessness, as we've discussed on this channel before, has extremely negative consequences on young boys, such as alcoholism and crime.
And we see that in the data also. So, for example, before age 9, girls and boys committed suicide equally. Age 10 to 14, twice the amount for boys. 15 to 19, 4 times the amount. Age 20 to 24, 6 times the amount for boys. So if dad-deprived boys is the number one cause of the boy crisis.
And let's not forget, even in the cases where fathers are actually around but experiencing relationship breakdown, child custody is often awarded to the mother, which leads me to ask just how valued fatherhood is anyway, and how that makes men feel about another role that's been ripped out from under them. Seriously, we all know what happened to Jim in Treasure Planet when his father left. It's like the saddest montage I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, Treasure Planet was a good movie. I remember that movie growing up.
Why? In Farrell's talk, he also points out how boys go from a father or male-deprived home environment to a male-deprived school environment, and this also has negative consequences. In recent years, we've come to find out that the education model most often presented to students better suits the learning styles of girls. In addition to that, some 77% of all American teachers and nearly 90% of American primary school or elementary school teachers are women. There is a significant gap between what boys find stimulating and engaging and what the female-orientated education system deems appropriate, which is why some researchers have concluded that boys and young men are simply being left behind, because the
So basically what Sidney Watson says here is, according to research, because the education system has been quote-unquote feminized, you know what I'm saying, that's why boys, even at a young age, have a hard time adjusting to society because of a feminized education. And
Feminized education system isn't built to deal with them. As Farrell explains, the United Nations did a worldwide study and found that boys were often graded higher on a reading test when the teacher did not know that the person who took the test was a boy.
yeah, there are some vindictive people out there that should not be in that position of power. One second. So one of my fans sent me a snack, and I've been snacking on them. I get snacks in the mail back from the old place. We got hemp gummies, 100% natural hemp extract, 90 sweets. But the milligrams on the hemp is like ridiculous, like 50,000 milligrams, right there. Take 1 to 2 every time. Do not exceed 4 pieces every 6 hours. So do not exceed 4 pieces every 6 hours. So we got a yellow, we got a green, think it's pretty much the same color. Or that orange? Yeah, that's orange. It's got vitamin E. I think I'll be fine, honestly. I'm not going to take more than this. 5 will be enough. So we got yellow, green, red. So I'm taking it till tomorrow. Orange, and purple. These gummies are actually really tasty. Now I get a P.O. box set up for my wand business. You'll be able to send me stuff there too.
Similarly, he also pointed.
On a real note, though, if you're a teacher and you're going to give someone a poor grade just because of the gender of your student, you shouldn't be a teacher.
Points out the boys do better overall when their teachers are also male.
Oh, don't give me that crap. So one study suggests that boys do better with male teachers because they learn better. This is where I disagree. I think it depends on the student because I had a lot of female teachers growing up and a couple of male teachers as well. And because I have Asperger's and ADHD, I struggled to learn education and struggled socially. It didn't make much difference if the teacher was male or female. Biosteel, electrolytes, sports hydration, natural ingredients, sugar-free, amino acids, vitamin B blend. And to be brutally honest, YouTube, people learn at different rates, man. We don't all learn at the same rates. I want to stir that around. Get all that powder stirred up. this whole, well, and like I said, it depends on the teacher and the students. There are some students who learn better with certain teachers, yes, but then again, I think it depends on the teacher. Regardless of gender, can you get your class to engage in the topic of discussion? Can you make them want to learn, get them excited about what they're learning, you know? Not bad.
This is for several reasons, some of which are because male teachers challenge boys to work harder and have an impact on boosting their
This idea that only male teachers are going to challenge their male students. No, it's regardless of gender. You can challenge your students regardless of gender. Speaking of which, the new episode of The Simpsons, where Marge Simpson was picking up Lisa from detention and just chuckling like, oh, this is a first. Because usually Bart's the one in trouble. Lisa Simpson made a comment in that episode about how boys, I don't know what was the comment, I forget, but it was a really feminazi-esque quote. Or how boys make women feel guilty about shit and they can just do whatever the fuck they want. Yeah, that was the comment. She didn't cuss, obviously. And I'm like, do we really want to go there? Do we really want to have that conversation? Because, you know, there are some people you have to walk on eggshells with. I'm reminded of a Family Guy cutaway. Men, we don't know what we did. Now, of course, Lisa Simpson in this new episode was pissed off because her teacher gave her a B minus. Oh. And she starts nagging on her teacher for all this shit. And then she learns that her teacher has a hard life. She's pissed off because the teacher gave her detention. Of course, her brother Bart is already in detention. And he says, hey man, teachers go through detention too. It's called being a teacher. And yeah, you think some teachers want to be there? No, because it gets tiring. A teacher that's fresh out of college, eager to educate young minds, so by the time they retire, they're just like, oh, about time you gave me the golden watch. See you little bastards, never. I'm never coming back. I'm done teaching. Eh.
confidence in their own abilities. Or maybe it's because boys like having a stable male role model. So
Well, and to be fair, women like having a stable female model. That certainly doesn't have to do with anything as far as education goes. That can play a small part in it, but for the most part, I think it's just how the student learns.
boys effectively go from a feminized home environment to a feminized education system. Then some of them go on to work in an increasingly feminized workplace where they are fearful of interacting with women, where they're told to eliminate masculine language from
Being fearful to interact with women in the workforce is honestly nothing new. There are women out there who have falsely accused men of sexual harassment and gotten them fired from their job. And that just makes women in general look bad. And there are women out there, for whatever reason, said they're going to ruin that man's life just because they can and they don't like him. And it's just wow, dude. Which is very toxic in itself because there are women out there who do get raped. There are women out there who are sexually harassed and assaulted. And when you see women out there who lie about it, it makes the real cases look fake too. So, way to fuck over your own gender, ladies. And way to fuck over the male gender too on top of it. Wow.
From their speech to
It's the Christmas season and we're already off to a jolly start, aren't we?
feminized marriages where women wield the majority of power.
So if a man grows up in a feminized world and then to a feminized school system and then into a feminized workplace and then he comes home to a feminized marriage. Holy shit. Where women who make the money wear the pants, etc. And that's an old school mentality that a lot of men feel insecure about. Again, it's all about how we're raised in society. Men, of course, are raised that you have to be tough and show dominance, and you have to, show no emotion. If you get a cut, rub some dirt in it, you pussy, quit crying about it, etc. But this is where I say, okay, if your wife is the one who makes more money than you, who cares? Support her and her needs, and do what you can to contribute to that. If you both make the same amount or equal pay, awesome. You're contributing to that unit, to that household, etc.
Control their money and allow them to have a man cave.
Oh, yeah, because apparently in this stereotype, the woman who controls everything allowed her husband to have a man cave. No. No, the reason why women get pissed off if their man gets a man cave is because, one, they either have no friends, because most of their friends are so goddamn catty towards each other, or two, they think that their man wants to spend less time with them if they build it. Oh, you're just going to be in that damn room all day. So if men want to get a man cave, here's where we got to compromise, all right? You got the skills to build a kick-ass man cave. And so you offer to build your wife a section of the house for her and her friends to have gatherings, like a woman cave, you know what I'm saying? And then that's what I call gender equality. You know what I'm saying? So that way when the other couples that you're friends with come over, all the guys can go in the man cave and watch football, and all the gals can go in the other room and fucking do whatever, dude, drink wine and gossip. Who fucking cares? That's not trying to be stereotypical here, but and furthermore, if you man has a man cave, okay, hear me out on this, and he's watching football with his guy buddies, every once in a while, not all the time because he'll expect it, but every once in a while when he's in his man cave, make him and yourself a sandwich and a nice big ass plate of chips, and then go in there. You got 2 sandwiches, a big ass plate of chips, and 2 ice cold beers. Now you walk into that room, sit on his lap, eat food with him, crack open the beers, and just watch the game with him, even if football's not your thing, right? All of his guy friends are gonna flip shit. Oh my God, Chad is so lucky. My wife would never do that. Oh, I know. The other guy's going, yeah, I hear that. My wife hates the idea of a man cave. Oh, jeez. So that in return, your man can do the same for you. You have a little book club meeting discussing the latest book y'all read. Man, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire was so good. What'd you guys think? They're all sipping on wine, whatever. That's when the man comes into the room with a nice platter of hors d'oeuvres, cheeses, hams, crackers, grapes. You know, what's the group feeling? Mimosas or wine? They say mimosas, you bust out some pink champagne, some orange juice, and some crushed ice in a champagne glass with like little strawberry slices in the glass, that are sugar coated and make it nice and fancy. You take that tray of goodies into your wife and her friends, give her a kiss on the forehead, and be like, "That's my sexy goddess," and just walk out of the room. And the same effect will happen with her gal pals. "Oh my God, you're so lucky. I wish my other half did shit like that for me." And then, of course, you hear the same woman go, "Their man doesn't let them do anything fun." Uh-huh. Kind of like when your husband tries to go golfing or fishing, and it's always, "Babe, hold on a second. What? I love you. What? You promised you'd stay in town. My mother's coming to visit, and my sister's coming. And you know how me and my sister don't get along sometimes. I need you here for moral support." Oh my fucking God. Yeah. So then that just comes down to your mother-in-law and father-in-law coming in town, always judging you for not being good enough for their daughter. And then, of course, your sister-in-law, who's just broken up with another piece of shit guy, just can't seem to get her life together. And now all of a sudden, it's all men's fault, right? So as soon as that conversation comes up when you're visiting with them, your father-in-law and you just exchange eyes like, "Yeah, we're guys. We kind of know how this shit goes down." But then he's going to go right back to judging you for marrying his daughter as soon as that conversation ends.
Because she doesn't like that ugly table that you bought in 2009. She's not wrong. It really is gross, and you should probably throw it away.
That being said, you think men don't feel the same way about your shoes? Huh, ladies? Not all women are like that, but come on. You think that table's gross? That's your opinion. You think you don't do shit or have shit that's gross to him? I mean, come on.
But there's a bunch of men out there who are laughing themselves all the way to the bank with their Pokemon cards that their wife tried to throw out that are now worth a lot of money.
In saying that, Sydney, if you're with a woman that's trying to throw out your Pokemon cards because she thinks you need to quote-unquote grow up, throw out her shoes and see how she likes that. That's why I'm saying you need to find yourself a chick who also likes Pokemon, then she'll be sharing her collection with you, and then it'll be just Gucci. "Damn, girl, you're cute. Can I take a Pikachu?" Meow. Kind of squirtle all over your Jigglypuffs. That last one was a little raunchy.
In saying all of this, maybe the problem is not the toxicity of masculinity or too much masculinity, but the complete lack of it. When I initially
No. It's not the lack of masculinity that's the problem. It's the way masculinity is perceived. It's the way some men who exhibit toxic behaviors that make masculinity look bad in general. It's the same argument for feminazis versus feminists. The feminist movement, like I've said, it's gotten a bad name because of the crazy psycho C-bombs who are screaming, "Fuck the patriarchy." Their tits are hanging out, and they write "men are pigs" across their tits, and they're holding up a fucking sign, "Women's lib, women's lib." "You men," and they're screaming, "You men," blah, 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 over in these countries and shit. There's going to be that one dude who doesn't have internet, so he can't access it. He's old as shit. And all of a sudden he hears about these women parading on the streets topless. Hot dog, he gets on his best suit, puts on some cologne, and then he marches down there and finds out it's a protest bitching about his gender. And then he's trying not to stare, but of course, he's a guy, right, who likes chicks, and it happens he stares. Okay, she's screaming at you with the megaphone. Ow, that hurts my fucking ears. He's really got that bullhorn up my fucking nose here, man. God damn it, that thing is loud. Don't stare at her tits. God damn it. Damn, those are kind of nice. Excuse me, you fucking chauvinistic pig asshole. Fucking sexist, blah, blah, blah. This is why I'm out here protesting. Well, believe me, honey, that megaphone is loud enough. You don't need to show off your goddamn tits to get your point across. At least you shouldn't have to. I mean, no one's complaining, but... Back to the Sydney Watson video.
Started writing this video, I looked heavily at feminizing men through humiliation and shame. Through making men dress effeminately or making them feel like women, so to speak, as two primary focuses. I mean, what better way to humiliate them than literally giving everything they do a stupid flim-flam name? Manterrupt, manspread, mansplain, man...
Fucking Sarah
I
Pitt,
made that last
God
one up. That
damn
one
it,
doesn't
woman.
exist. Which I guess is fine. Because
That's a distraction. That there's a workplace distraction. I'm trying to work on videos here. Okay. Anyways, exactly. Man interrupting. What? Just because you hate men and you add the word man to it doesn't make it a word, honey. And oof. Sydney's equally as disgusted with this crap as I am, I'm sure. It's just like, why? Just no, stop. This is going to make adult relationships more complicated than they need to be.
neither do the rest of them. Now, while nobody is actually forcing men to...
Okay, we got to look this up. Literally, I shit you not, because that's the definition of it. Manterrupting. Manterrupting in the Urban Dictionary. Get a load of this one, ladies and gents. In fact, the word feminists versus feminazis has been so intertwined that no one calls them feminazis. This is how screwed your movement is, ladies, when you let the feminazis take over. Manterrupting, a phrase used by feminists to try to turn the unpleasant but universal behavior of interrupting into a gender issue. Not everything is a gender issue, but when you get people out there who are so hell-bent on trying to make it a gender issue, you're just as obnoxious as these assholes who try to make everything seem racist. President Barack Obama and his family got a white dog. Nobody said shit. But Donald Trump and his family got a white dog, and everyone screamed how racist it was. And I was like, to be fair, they would have screamed racism if they would have gotten a brown dog, a yellow dog. You know, it's just people look for the dumbest reasons to get pissed off. It's like they got a dog that they wanted. How does that personally affect you? But instead of putting a phrase used by feminazis to try to turn the unpleasant blah, 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 no, instead of calling it feminazis, they called it feminists. Fascist bitch women who take the feminist movement to the extreme to such a degree that they literally become the female equivalent of the men that they bitch about. But 10 times worse, and the fact that society actually takes what they say seriously to such a degree. If men were marching down the street screaming about how women are sexist towards men, people would be like, oh, suck it up, you pussy. And to be fair, women have had to face oppression for the last several freaking decades. So,
the toxicity of masculinity or too much masculinity, but the complete lack of it. When I initially started writing this video, I looked heavily at feminizing men through humiliation and shame. Through making them dress effeminately or making them feel like women, so to speak, as two primary focuses. I mean, what better way to humiliate them than literally giving everything they do a stupid flim-flam name? Man-interrupt, man-spread, mansplain, man-cook. I made that last one up. That one doesn't exist. Which I guess is fine.
Okay, they reverse sexism, mansplaining. Get out of here with that, YouTube. I need some nicotine. It's gonna burn like a bitch. We got some tobacco snuff. You ever had powdered snuff? It's popular around other parts of the area. It gives you a nice nicotine buzz, but fuck does it burn the nostrils. And I'm out of smoking tobacco, so there we go. Oh, fuck. Nasal snuff burns like a bitch, dude. Oh. But this company does make good nasal snuff, I will say that.
Neither do the rest of them. Now, while nobody is
Yeah, because mansplaining is so annoying. It's one of those annoying younger generation terms. Like I said earlier, girl guilting.
actually forcing men to wear dresses, like in the cases I've already mentioned for Harry Styles.
No, seriously, ladies. If you started complaining about your womanly problems and your man was being a dick about it and said you were just girl guilting because men don't experience womanlyhood, you're just guilting him by girl guilting him, blah blah blah, you would tell him to shut the fuck up. You would. You'd be like, dude, that's stupid. Girl guilting? What? That's exactly what mansplaining sounds like, to be honest.
It appears that the idea is becoming more mainstream. A quick Google search turns up plenty of articles about the topic, anecdotes from parents and celebrities parading around their boys.
Well, look at that. Little boys wearing dresses. That's not unheard of. Boys at that age do that crap. It's called pretend. It's called having an imagination. Ooh. Little boys at that age are going to wear dresses. That's just what they do. You know? And instead of just leaving it, oh, it's just a child having an imagination, it's innocent, and leaving it at that, people have now dragged it into, oh, are they a drag queen now? Oh my God, is my kid transgender? Should they get realignment surgery? Don't get me started on that crap. The fact that there are people out there, I gotta get some more of this nicotine in my system. Ooh. The fact that there are people out there advocating for transgender realignment surgery for children, it's too far, dude. Okay, you want to accept drag queens, fine, but having them read stories to children, let alone letting children perform in adult drag shows, is very inappropriate. And then the cherry on top of the bullshit cake. No, I'm not even joking. There are hospitals out there. Yeah, Sydney Watson did a video on it. Oh oh yeah. Oh, that burns. Fuck. When you have no tobacco and you need some nicotine. Oh. Well, how do you like that? It fell down my shirt. Meh. I took a shower earlier, so who cares?
I even found a series of mothers who put their sons in dresses to support a television series and book about a boy discovering cross-dressing and drag. A video, mind you, that BBC One tried to hide, but I see you.
Okay, this is where I draw the line. If a little boy is discovering cross-dressing and drag and he's having fun with it, fine. But mothers forcing their sons to wear dresses just to support some other kid. Now, if your son was being a homophobe or a gender nonconformist phobe to that little boy, and you took a picture of him in a dress and posted it on social media as a form of punishment, that's one thing. But outright forcing them just to show support, you know.
I see everything. The thing is, clothes have an impact on how people feel and
You know what's stupid about this, YouTube? Clothes are practically made from the same goddamn material. Except they're shaped differently. Oh, I'm good on that snuff. Oh, that's the ticket. Ooh. Ooh. Oh. Oh, wee. This was some nasal snuff that some fans had sent me. I opened it, did a review of it. I still have the can of it. It comes in handy when I need some nicotine and I ain't got no tobacco to smoke.
behave, something that has been documented in many situations over many decades. In 2012, one pair of researchers coined the term enclosed cognition and attempted to further prove that clothes have a profound psychological and behavioral consequence for wearers. In the case,
So according to the research, even though clothes are damn near made out of the same material, they can have an impact on the way the person carries themselves. Interesting.
some boys and men, there is a relationship between clothing, shame, and humiliation. And additionally, but probably not unsurprisingly, the management of masculinity through forcing men to wear feminine clothing is not a new idea. In the 1970s, researchers carried out what they called the Stanford Prison Experiment. During the experiment, prisoners were given a dress or smock and not allowed to wear any underclothes. The study team noted that while they realize men in prison don't actually wear dresses, real male prisoners do feel humiliated and do feel emasculated. Their goal was to produce similar effects quickly by putting men in a dress without any underclothes. Indeed, as soon as some of their prisoners were put in these uniforms, they began to walk and sit differently, to hold themselves differently, more like a woman than a man. What's interesting is that this has been documented before. In the Victorian era, sometimes young boys were forced to wear feminine clothes in an effort to fix their unwanted behavior, in a practice known as petticoating or petticoat discipline. This is not to be confused with breeching, where toddler boys for like hundreds of years wore dresses because it was easier to change their diapers and so on, but were eventually transitioned into pants and it was like celebrated because, I don't know, I guess yay pants. Petticoating, on the other hand, worked by humiliating and embarrassing the boy so much that he was careful not to engage in any kind of activity that would draw attention to himself, thus making him easier to control in public. Obviously, I'm not precisely sure how common petticoating was because, as well as being like a weird practice, it's also a fetish, because of course it is. So when I Google it, I just get to see a lot of this. Early accounts that actually reference petticoating, despite how much research and reading I did, are reasonably scant as well, making it kind of hard to determine just how common it was. And regrettably, this just isn't a hill I'm willing to die on. As of 2020, and again unsurprisingly, there are plenty of accounts of this, both as a punishment and a fetish. And a punishment that's a fetish. There are also plenty of news articles where parents or teachers made young boys wear makeup and dresses to humiliate them. And those weren't
Oh man, doing that freaking tobacco snuff made my eyes water, dude. Oof, got makeup ran. That's alright. I don't care. I was merely wearing it to prove a point. Ooh. Merely wearing it to prove a point. But do appreciate y'all tuning in to watch this long ass live stream.
particularly difficult to find. I had to look at a lot of weird crap for you guys. I'm not even gonna lie. The funny thing is, what I'm describing to you is precisely what people on the other side of things are trying to fight against. They want this line between male and female clothing completely obliterated in order to disrupt gender norms. But logically, there has to be a reason why men.
This is so stereotypical Republicans. They take the fear of the unknown and use it to scare people because people understandably don't like or are afraid or just don't understand what they don't know. This idea that, oh, gender norms. You see goths and emos and paint their nails, punk rockers paint their nails, for a variety of reasons. So really gender norms in that sense, really, you see scene painting their nails too. It's just like, who fucking cares, dude? Like, I don't know, dude.
Men find dressing effeminately to be such an affront. And a good female friend of mine made a good point about this that I think is worth repeating. When a woman wears dresses as her main item of clothing, for example, she's considered very feminine or very girly. Dresses, for whatever reason, are a symbol of super femininity.
You notice that dresses are made out of the same material as dress shirts.
Same with high heels. In fact, studies have gone on to show that wearing high heels helps people distinguish men from women when all they have to go off is a silhouette. Wearing jeans and a shirt, by my estimation, is gender neutral.
Jeans and a shirt, black Wranglers, and a t-shirt.
Clothing. Men wearing a suit and tie is masculine. Women wearing dresses is feminine. For what
Men wearing suits and a tie is masculine, and who says women can't wear a suit and a tie, Because they can, and they do. Get the little shorter things going so it like juts out to here,
whatever reason, which is kind of inexplicable to me, this is the meaning that we assign to these specific things. That's just my 2 cents. Anyway, humiliating, emasculating, and feminizing men goes well beyond clothing. It has been used since forever as a means of control during war, especially in the form of sexual abuse. This humiliation usually neutralizes men and makes them completely unable to rise up and fight back, as described in several cases, such as in the Democratic Republic of Congo and Abu Ghraib, for example. One study quoted male victims saying that if a man in prison says that he is made to feel like a woman, this is commonly understood to mean that he was degraded, dehumanized, and sexualized. I'm just going to add here, too, that many of the papers I read in relation to this topic somehow managed to link the way that men were feeling to misogyny and homophobia. As in, if a man is feeling worthless because he's been sexually abused, somehow that fits into a larger commentary about sexism and homosexuality.
Yeah, that's that's the fucked society we live in. If a dude gets raped by another dude and he did not like it because he's straight, he gets called a homophobe. What? It's like, excuse me, dude. And there are people out there who are some real bigoted assholes towards the LGBTQ community, but I mean, the article she talks about, I'm assuming I'm trying to make that conclusion, which is, dude, nobody would want to get that happening to them, regardless of gender. So fuck off if you think that. Nobody wants to get raped. So fuck off if you think that. You know what I'm saying? If you think that dude's a homophobe because he didn't like getting raped by the other dude, dude, you're, wow. That's a stretch, dude. There are people out there who think crazy shit like that, and it just blows my fucking mind. I'm like, how stupid are these fucking retards?
Which is honestly just like exhausting and goes to my earlier point about how helping men is never actually really about helping men.
Oh, like if he was raped by a woman and he didn't like it because he has a wife and they don't know he's about to marry his fiance, it was just a really shitty situation kind of thing, he gets called a faggot. Like what? How is it rape when a woman did it? All you men want is pussy. Oh wait, you have a fiance and she would be pissed. Oh wait, that woman was big enough to kick your ass and hold you down. Oh wait, that woman had a machete to your throat or a gun to your head. Wow. Okay, now we'll start taking it seriously.
I'm just, stop this. Now, again, I realize that what I am talking about, what I am describing here, is precisely what people on the left want to change. But their methods don't revolve around building men up.
Don't make us about politics, make us about the gender here, because you start dragging politics into it, my argument's going to be, yeah, but the left will say it's all your fault, and then you'll say it's all their fault, and it's like, instead of pointing fingers at each other, let's come up with a goddamn solution to this society's issues.
Up and supporting them, but rather criticizing them for characteristics that they naturally have.
Some characteristics are natural, some are inherited. You think sexism is born overnight? No. Sexism is inherited through women and men who have had shitty experiences with the opposite sex, so they project their old school views or their views onto their younger ones, and the younger ones will then grow up watching their father figures or their mother figures bitching about the opposite sex and what a pain in the ass they are. And then that gets reflected upon the way, so when they go out and start dating people their own age, that's already instilled into them, so it makes the first date super awkward because you want to go smoothly, but that little voice in the back of your head. And really, I think it just depends on the situation and the people.
There are also plenty of other areas that we could have explored in this video relating to this phenomenon, such as the feminization of the military, the feminization of the police force, and any really other male-dominated environment.
Honestly, what's wrong with having a woman in those areas, Sydney? You know, the feminization of the military, the police, the fire department, of whatever. What's wrong with that? You know? Some might say, well, it might be labeled as a distraction to men. And I'm like, if you cannot focus on your job because there's a female president, then maybe you should get a different job. You know? Because that's a piss poor excuse. But with the military one, I kind of get it, because some men, most men, any man should have that natural instinct to protect women. That should be any decent guy's natural instinct. So when you got women and men fighting on the front line together, of course, if you say that, I'm gonna be like, well, I get that 1000% get that, but here's the thing of it. If you're a unit, you're a team, you protect each other regardless of gender. You see what I'm saying? So even then,
How we have changed our language, how we talk about straight white men as this like
oh yeah, how we talk about straight white men. Yeah, preach.
really overbearing negative force in society, and so on. But this video is just clearly long enough as it is, so another time. Now, in saying everything that I've said, I want to be clear that there is actually nothing wrong with being a man who is not the perfect picture of traditional masculinity. Not everyone can be He-Man, and that's okay. However, shaming men who do fit this mold, whether that be entirely or partly, is having, in my opinion, entirely detrimental effects on society as a whole.
Yeah, when you attack men for being masculine instead of attacking the toxic behaviors, and like I said, instead of getting rid of the parts of masculinity that are toxic, you just get rid of the whole thing in general. And saying that would be like men attacking women for being a feminist rather than just addressing the feminazis and the toxic things that women do. You just outright get rid of the whole feminine identity in general. And I think a lot of women would hate that, honestly, if they had to go through it. That's something you got to think about. How would it feel to be in the other person's shoes? And saying that, you got to learn to sympathize with your partner when it comes to dating.
Unequivocally, there is a significant value in strong masculine men. These are builders, leaders, protectors, soldiers in our society who complement women and make up for the things that we simply can't do. And there's nothing wrong with that. There never has been. At the end of the day, attempting to destroy the characteristics that underpin masculinity has not helped us. Rather, if we're being honest, it's hindered us. Replacing masculine influence with this much feminine influence will never result in balancing out society.
Yeah, I'm reminded of an episode of South Park where the men of South Park were asked to be more feminine, to be more in touch with their feminine side. And at first, Sharon and all the other South Park moms were all for it. They were like, feeling like, oh hey, but then after a couple months of it, they were sick of it.
We need masculine men. We need the gunslinger. And shame.
We don't necessarily need masculine men. It's a want, if anything, for women in society.
Them and feminizing them out of existence has certainly not helped us so far, and it absolutely won't help us in the future.
And saying that you have no idea what it's like to be a man when he can't be the hero that she needs, he's failed. He turns to a different situation because he wasn't what she was looking for. Right. And saying that when it comes to failures and just, what I'm saying. And I think Sydney Watson does understand it because she talked about how men are not brought up the way women are in our society. And that's the truth. Women and men are brought up differently. But that's not what I'm talking about. Like, women get more support than men do. And that's just the truth of it. You know why it took women so long to join the military? Because no one gives a fuck about men. Women were seen as more valuable in society because they could give birth to children. That's half of it. The other half is because, well, society is sexist.
Now, before I open the floor to all of you, this is just a reminder that you can download Surfshark VPN using the link in the description. When you do, you'll receive 84% off and 4 extra months free. Now, I open the floor to all of you.
4 extra months free, huh?
What do you all think? Is Harry Styles wearing a dress actually a problem?
Is Harry Styles wearing a dress a problem? No. Who gives a shit? Crap musician. Now he's just wearing a dress to stay relevant. Like, who cares?
Is this something we should care about?
Well, if you follow him and you're about that crap music he makes, then if you don't care, then don't care. Like,
Is masculinity actually under threat?
yes, it is. And if we're gonna redefine masculinity, it needs to be done in a way that's gender neutral, in the sense it supports men and manly things, but at the same time, if the man himself is not a sexist, you get that one guy that's just masculine in nature, and that one woman who's so triggered by it, she's so insecure with herself as a female that when she sees a man characteristically being masculine, it triggers her. The same way a dude gets pissed off when he sees another dude wearing a dress or whatever. Like, that dude's more in touch with his feminine side than you aren't, and that's why, And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but the fact that being in touch with your quote-unquote feminine side, according to society, is being more open with your emotions and being unafraid to be emotional and express yourself and communicate better. It's like, why is it, we get back to that, why is that being emotional is seen as a woman thing? It's just, bleh. I guess being a woman's a gateway drug to being super emotional, huh? Because according to some of these radical feminazi groups, being masculine is a gateway drug to violence and war and shit. Honestly, living in the society we live in is exhausting. But we keep on trucking because that's what makes the adventure worth it, right?
Are men being feminized?
Yes and no. I don't think men are being feminized. I think men choose to a certain degree.
Do you think that this entire thing has been blown way out of proportion?
Yes, this entire situation has definitely been blown way out of proportion. There are people out there making a bigger deal about this than they need to, and it's just like, how does this? No, please tell me, how does this personally affect you as a person? You bigoted piece of shit.
And what do you generally make of this issue overall?
What do I generally make about this issue overall? I kind of just said that in this long ass video response. I think it's bollocks that we're having to have these goddamn discussions. When you know for a fact, if you told women they couldn't wear jeans because jeans are for boys, you'd never hear the end of it. But we're seeing a society now that's starting to lash back at the gender stereotypes that are thrown at men, but to a degree it's not as frowned upon as if it were to happen to a woman, kind of thing.
As always, if you like the video, hit subscribe and the thumbs up button. If you want to leave a comment, feel free to do so. Just be respectful about it. And I will see you guys next time.
Yep. Anyways, tubes, thank you for watching that wicked sick video response. I'll catch you, Cool Cobras, on the next stream.